Tigers, majestic, mysterious, and master predators. For centuries, humans have admired these beautiful animals, but how much do we really know about them? In this long-form video, we're diving deep into the world of tigers. From their hidden behaviors to evolutionary secrets, and even the meaning behind their stripes. This is your ultimate guide to tiger facts. Get comfortable. Let's get started. Tigers are among the most iconic and fascinating animals on Earth. They are the largest of all wild cats and one of the most powerful predators in the animal kingdom. Their beauty, strength, and mystery have made them a symbol in cultures around the world. Native to Asia, tigers once roamed a vast area stretching from the eastern parts of Turkey all the way to the Russian Far East and down through Southeast Asia. Today, however, their range has drastically reduced due to habitat loss, poaching, and conflict with humans. The scientific name for the tiger is Panthera tigris. They're part of the Panthera genus, which includes lions, leopards, and jaguars. Unlike lions, which live in social groups called prides, tigers are solitary by nature. Each adult tiger maintains and defends a large territory, and interactions between adult tigers are generally limited to mating or territorial disputes. Males typically have territories that overlap with those of several females, but they rarely encounter each other directly. Tigers have long, muscular bodies with powerful limbs. Their forelimbs are especially strong and are used for grappling with large prey. Their claws are retractable, sharp, and can grow up to 4 inches long. Their jaws are equipped with large canine teeth and a bite force strong enough to crush bone. Tigers typically kill their prey by biting the throat or the back of the neck, severing the spinal cord or suffocating the victim. They rely on stealth and strength, not speed, to hunt. Once they are within striking distance, usually around 20 to 30 feet, they lunge at their target. These cats are primarily carnivores. Their diet mainly consists of ungulates, such as deer, wild boar, and antelope. But they are known to hunt a wide variety of animals, depending on what is available. Tigers are opportunistic hunters, and will sometimes scavenge or even take down livestock if they are near human settlements. In extremely rare cases, they have been known to attack adult elephants or rhinos, especially if the animals are young or weak. In general, though, tigers prefer solitary hunting of medium to large-sized prey. Tigers are apex predators, meaning they are at the very top of their food chain. They have no natural predators, aside from humans. In many regions, especially in India and parts of Southeast Asia, tiger attacks on humans have been recorded. However, such incidents are rare and often occur when tigers are old, injured, or unable to find their usual prey. Most wild tigers avoid human contact whenever possible. Conservationists often note that when humans and tigers come into conflict, it's usually because the animal's habitat has been disrupted or destroyed. There are currently 6 recognized subspecies of tigers that are still extant. These include the Bengal tiger, the Siberian tiger, the Indo-Chinese tiger, the Malayan tiger, the South China tiger, and the Sumatran tiger. Each of these subspecies has adapted to its environment in terms of size, behavior, and even fur thickness. The Bengal tiger, found mostly in India and Bangladesh, is the most numerous and is often the image most people associate with tigers. Siberian tigers are the largest of the subspecies and have thicker, lighter fur to withstand cold winters in the Russian Far East. Sumatran tigers, the smallest of the subspecies, are found only on the island of Sumatra and are critically endangered. Their smaller size helps them move efficiently through dense jungle. Malayan and Indochinese tigers are found in Southeast Asia and are also highly endangered. The South China tiger is possibly extinct in the wild, with only a few individuals known to exist in captivity. Conservation efforts are underway for all subspecies, but habitat destruction, illegal hunting, and lack of genetic diversity continue to pose severe threats. One of the most distinctive features of a tiger is its striped coat. These stripes are not just visually stunning, they serve an essential purpose in the tiger's survival. The coloration of a tiger is a natural form of camouflage. Their orange fur with black vertical stripes blends surprisingly well into the tall grasses and dappled light of their forested habitats. The stripes break up the outline of the tiger's body, allowing it to remain hidden while stalking prey. This type of camouflage is known as disruptive coloration, and it is a highly effective strategy for ambush predators. The pattern of stripes is unique to each individual tiger, much like a human fingerprint. No two tigers have the same stripe pattern, and this trait is often used by researchers to identify and monitor individuals in the wild. Special camera traps placed throughout protected habitats allow scientists to track tiger populations and movement by comparing stripe patterns in the photos. Even the skin underneath the fur carries the same pattern. If you were to shave a tiger, hypothetically, the skin would display the same stripes. The base color of a tiger's coat ranges from reddish-orange to yellow-orange, depending on the subspecies and its geographic location. Tigers from colder climates, like the Siberian tiger, tend to have paler fur. The coloration is influenced not just by environment, but also by genetics. Some rare genetic mutations result in white tigers, which are not albino, but have a condition called leucism. These tigers have white or pale fur and light brown or gray stripes. They are often seen in captivity, but white tigers are extremely rare in the wild due to the recessive nature of the gene. Most white tigers in zoos today are descended from a single male white tiger captured in India in the 1950s. Because of the small genetic pool, white tigers in captivity have been extensively inbred, leading to various health problems such as crossed eyes, cleft palates, spinal deformities, and weakened immune systems. Another rare variation is the golden tabby tiger, which has a pale gold coat and light brown stripes. These are also the result of recessive genes and are not found in the wild. While visually striking, these variations often suffer from poor genetic health due to limited breeding lines. In terms of habitat, tigers can live in a wide range of environments. They are found in tropical rainforests, mangrove swamps, grasslands, savannas, and even snowy forests. They need large territories with adequate cover, water sources, and a healthy prey population. Males generally require more territory than females, with some Siberian tigers occupying ranges of up to 1,000 square kilometers. Tigers are very territorial and will defend their land fiercely, especially if threatened by another tiger of the same sex. They mark their territory using scent markings, scratch marks on trees, and vocalizations like roars and growls. Tigers are capable swimmers and actually enjoy water. Unlike many cats, they are often seen bathing in rivers or lakes, especially in warmer climates. Swimming helps them cool down and also provides a means of travel in environments with many water bodies. They are powerful swimmers and have been known to cross rivers several kilometers wide. In the Sundarbans, a mangrove region in India and Bangladesh, swimming is an essential part of a tiger's daily life, and tigers there are highly adapted to an aquatic environment. Tigers communicate with one another using a variety of vocalizations, body language, and scent markings. Roaring is one of their most powerful sounds and can be heard from several kilometers away. This is primarily used for territorial purposes. Chuffing is a softer vocalization used in friendly contexts, like between a mother and her cubs or during courtship. Growls, snarls, and hisses are used during aggressive encounters or when threatened. Tigers also use visual signals like ear position, tail movement, and facial expressions to convey mood and intention. Breeding among tigers usually occurs during winter or spring, depending on the region. After a gestation period of about 3.5 months, a tigress gives birth to a litter of 2 to 4 cubs. Cubs are born blind and helpless and depend on their mother for warmth, protection, and food. They begin to open their eyes after a week and start eating meat at around 6 to 8 weeks. The mother will nurse them for several months while also teaching them how to hunt. Cubs usually stay with their mother for about 2 years before setting off to establish their own territories. Tigers can live up to 15 years in the wild, though many do not survive that long due to injuries, disease, starvation, or conflict with humans. In captivity, with regular food and medical care, tigers can live into their 20s. The oldest recorded tiger lived to be 26 years old. In the wild, their main threats are humans. Poaching for tiger parts, used in traditional medicine, ornaments, and as status symbols, remains a major problem, particularly in countries with poor enforcement. Habitat loss due to logging, agriculture, and urban development continues to shrink their living space. Conservation efforts around the world aim to protect tiger populations through anti-poaching patrols, habitat restoration, and breeding programs. India's Project Tiger, launched in 1973, was one of the first large-scale efforts to conserve tigers and has helped increase populations in several key reserves. Global initiatives by organizations like the World Wildlife Fund and Panthera also play a crucial role in securing the future of tigers. Many zoos and sanctuaries participate in captive breeding programs designed to preserve genetic diversity and raise awareness about tiger conservation. Despite these efforts, the global wild tiger population is estimated to be fewer than 4,000 individuals. Most of these are Bengal tigers, with other subspecies numbering in the low hundreds or even fewer. Reintroducing captive tigers into the wild is complex and rarely successful, as these animals often lack the necessary survival skills. Therefore, the focus remains on protecting wild habitats and preventing human-wildlife conflict. Ecotourism, if managed responsibly, can also provide economic incentives for communities to support tiger conservation. Tigers continue to inspire awe, respect, and a sense of mystery. They are powerful symbols of nature's raw beauty and fragility. Whether featured in ancient mythology, modern logos, or wildlife documentaries, tigers occupy a special place in human culture. But their future is uncertain. Without continued protection, these majestic animals could vanish from the wild within our lifetime. Understanding their biology, behavior, and importance to ecosystems is the first step in ensuring their survival. We must work together, scientists, conservationists, governments, and ordinary people, to preserve this incredible species for generations to come. Tigers play a vital role in maintaining the balance of the ecosystems they inhabit. As apex predators, they help regulate populations of herbivores such as deer, boar, and antelope. By keeping these prey populations in check, tigers indirectly support the growth of vegetation and maintain healthy biodiversity. In areas where tiger numbers have decreased, there's often a noticeable imbalance in the ecosystem, leading to overgrazing and the collapse of smaller animal populations. Therefore, preserving tiger populations also means protecting the entire ecosystem around them. The territorial nature of tigers means that each individual requires a large area to roam, hunt, and breed. This makes tiger conservation particularly challenging, as it demands the protection of vast tracts of undisturbed habitat. A single male tiger may require hundreds of square kilometers to establish his territory. When multiple tigers inhabit a reserve, these space requirements multiply. Therefore, conservation strategies often focus on creating wildlife corridors that connect separate tiger habitats, allowing animals to migrate safely, avoid inbreeding, and find new territories. Wildlife corridors are crucial in maintaining genetic diversity. Fragmentation of habitats due to roads, farms, and urban sprawl often isolates tiger populations. This isolation leads to inbreeding, which weakens genetic health and reduces resilience to disease. When tigers can move freely between reserves and forested areas, they bring new genes into each population. Governments and conservation organizations have begun identifying and protecting these corridors, building overpasses and underpasses across roads to enable safe passage for animals, and working with communities to keep these areas free of human encroachment. While Bengal tigers are the most well-known due to their larger numbers and strong presence in India's culture, Siberian tigers present a very different set of adaptations. Found primarily in the Russian Far East, these tigers live in some of the coldest habitats on Earth. Their thick fur, layer of fat beneath the skin, and large body size help them survive in sub-zero temperatures. The paler color of their coat also offers camouflage against the snowy backdrop of their environment. In contrast to other subspecies, Siberian tigers tend to be less aggressive and more tolerant of overlapping territories due to lower prey density. Sumatran tigers have evolved to suit life in dense tropical jungles. Their smaller size allows them to move more easily through thick vegetation. They also have more stripes than other subspecies, possibly to improve camouflage in shadowy forest environments. Unfortunately, their limited range and the rapid pace of deforestation on the island of Sumatra have made this subspecies critically endangered. Palm oil plantations and illegal logging are among the biggest threats to their survival. Organizations are working with Indonesian authorities to monitor populations, reduce poaching, and engage local communities in conservation. Tigers are intelligent and curious animals. In captivity, they show problem-solving abilities, recognize individual humans, and even remember specific events or objects. In the wild, their intelligence is demonstrated through their hunting strategies, ability to adapt to changing environments, and cautious behavior when navigating human-dominated landscapes. Some tigers have learned to alter their activity patterns to avoid people, becoming more nocturnal in regions where humans are most active during the day. This adaptability is part of what makes them such successful predators. In the wild, tiger cub mortality is high. Only about half of all cubs make it to adulthood. Predators like leopards, hyenas, and even large birds of prey can kill tiger cubs when the mother is away hunting. In addition, male tigers may kill cubs that are not their own, triggering the mother to enter estrus again and become receptive to mating. This brutal practice, called infanticide, is common among many big cat species and serves a reproductive purpose from the male's perspective. To protect her cubs, a tigress will often hide them in dense vegetation and frequently relocate the den. Mother tigers are fiercely protective and nurturing. They spend most of their time with their cubs during the first few months, teaching them how to stalk, pounce, and eventually hunt for themselves. Cubs often play with one another, practicing essential survival skills while also developing social bonds. As they grow older, the mother gradually introduces them to larger prey and more complex hunting situations. By the time they reach 2 years old, most cubs are capable of surviving on their own and are forced to leave their mother's territory to establish their own. Tigers, like many big cats, use scent to communicate. They have scent glands on their cheeks, paws, and around the base of their tail. By rubbing against trees, spraying urine, and leaving scat in prominent places, they provide information to other tigers. These scent marks tell others whether a tiger is male or female, sexually receptive, dominant, or simply passing through. This form of chemical communication is vital in a solitary species, helping to avoid unnecessary conflict and allowing individuals to assess the presence of others in the area without direct confrontation. The roar of a tiger is one of the most awe-inspiring sounds in the animal kingdom. It serves as both a warning and a territorial declaration. Tigers can roar for several reasons: to claim territory, to locate mates, or to intimidate rivals. The structure of their larynx and hyoid apparatus enables them to produce this deep, resonant call. Unlike smaller cats, which can purr, big cats like tigers roar because their hyoid bone is partially ossified. However, they cannot purr continuously as domestic cats can. Their roar can travel up to 3 kilometers through forest. Beyond roars, tigers make a variety of other vocalizations. Chuffing, also known as prustin, is a friendly sound used during close-range interactions. It's often heard between mothers and cubs or between tigers that have established a social bond. Growling, snarling, and hissing are signs of aggression or discomfort. Whines, moans, and meows are also used, particularly during mating or when cubs communicate with their mother. Tigers also use body language extensively. Raised hackles, tail flicks, and ear positions all convey emotional states and intentions. The mating process of tigers is brief but intense. When a female comes into heat, she signals her readiness through scent markings and vocal calls. Mating pairs come together for several days, during which they mate frequently, sometimes dozens of times a day. After this brief union, the male leaves, and the female raises any resulting cubs alone. There is no paternal care among tigers. If conception does not occur, the female will enter another estrus cycle in a few weeks. If successful, pregnancy lasts around 100 to 110 days. Tigers are often subjects of mythology, art, and literature. In Chinese culture, the tiger is one of the 12 zodiac animals and symbolizes power, protection, and courage. In Indian mythology, the goddess Durga rides a tiger as a symbol of her strength and fearlessness. Tigers are revered in many indigenous cultures of Southeast Asia as spiritual animals or forest guardians. In Korea, they are seen as protectors against evil spirits. These cultural representations reflect the awe and respect humans have long held for tigers and highlight their importance beyond biology. Despite their cultural importance, tigers have suffered heavily at the hands of humans. Poaching remains a serious threat. Every part of the tiger, bones, skin, teeth, whiskers, and even eyes, has been used in traditional medicine or as a status symbol. Although illegal in most countries, the black market trade in tiger parts remains lucrative. Wildlife trafficking networks are sophisticated and difficult to dismantle. Anti-poaching patrols, sniffer dogs, and surveillance cameras are tools now used to combat this illegal trade. But more work remains to be done. In captivity, tigers are found in zoos, wildlife sanctuaries, and private facilities. While zoos contribute to conservation and education, not all captive environments are beneficial for the animals. Tigers need large, enriched enclosures that stimulate their natural behaviors. Poorly managed facilities can lead to stress, aggression, and abnormal behavior in tigers. The presence of so-called tiger farms in some countries, where tigers are bred for commercial purposes, raises ethical concerns. Conservationists argue that true conservation should focus on protecting wild populations and habitats, not producing animals for display or profit. In the United States, there are more tigers in captivity than in the wild. Many of these tigers are kept by private individuals in unregulated environments. This poses risks both to the animals and to public safety. Several high-profile incidents have occurred over the years, prompting lawmakers to consider tighter regulations on exotic animal ownership. Conservationists emphasize that captive breeding should only be undertaken with clear goals related to species preservation, education, or scientific research. Simply owning a tiger as a pet is irresponsible and potentially dangerous. Modern technology has revolutionized tiger conservation. Camera traps, satellite tracking, and genetic analysis provide critical data for monitoring populations. Researchers can now identify individual tigers by their stripe patterns using software algorithms. DNA extracted from scat or hair can reveal relationships between individuals and assess genetic health. Drones and satellite images help monitor habitat changes in real time. These tools allow conservationists to make informed decisions and prioritize areas for protection, ensuring that efforts are as effective and efficient as possible. Climate change presents a new and growing threat to tigers. Rising temperatures, changing rainfall patterns, and sea level rise affect the ecosystems they rely on. In the Sundarbans, for example, rising seas and increased salinity threaten the mangrove forests where tigers live. In other regions, shifting climate zones may affect prey availability or increase the frequency of human-wildlife conflict. Conservation planning now increasingly incorporates climate resilience, ensuring that tiger habitats remain viable as environmental conditions evolve over the coming decades. Tourism, when managed responsibly, can support tiger conservation. Wildlife safaris in India, Nepal, and other tiger range countries generate revenue that funds conservation programs and benefits local communities. By providing jobs and economic incentives, tourism helps create a vested interest in protecting wildlife. However, unregulated tourism can be harmful, disturbing animals, and damaging sensitive habitats. It's crucial that tourism operators follow ethical guidelines, limit visitor numbers, and prioritize the welfare of the animals over profit. Educating tourists is also key. Understanding animal behavior and respecting their space leads to better experiences for everyone. Tigers are a flagship species, meaning their conservation benefits many other species in the same ecosystem. Protecting tiger habitats preserves forests, rivers, and grasslands that are home to countless other plants and animals. In saving tigers, we are also saving leopards, elephants, pangolins, birds, insects, and more. The forests where tigers live also store carbon, regulate water, and provide resources for human communities. This makes tiger conservation not just an ecological issue, but a human one. The health of these ecosystems is directly tied to the well-being of people. Captive breeding programs have had limited success in reintroducing tigers into the wild. One of the main challenges is teaching captive-born tigers how to hunt. Without the skills learned from a wild mother, these animals often struggle to find food. Additionally, reintroduced tigers must be monitored closely to ensure they do not come into conflict with humans. There have been some successful examples, but they require careful planning, secure habitat, and long-term commitment. Conservationists agree that protecting existing wild populations is still the most effective strategy for ensuring the species' survival. As apex predators, tigers represent the pinnacle of natural evolution. Their muscular build, keen senses, and complex behavior make them one of the most fascinating animals on Earth. Watching a tiger move through the forest, silent, graceful, and powerful, is an experience few ever forget. The survival of tigers depends not just on laws or funding, but on public awareness and will. When people understand the importance of tigers and the challenges they face, they are more likely to support conservation efforts, demand action from leaders, and make choices that help protect the natural world. Tiger conservation efforts vary greatly between countries, reflecting different challenges, resources, and cultural attitudes toward wildlife. In India, the largest wild tiger population in the world, has spurred a massive conservation movement. Project Tiger, launched in 1973, aimed to preserve critical tiger habitats across the country. It began with just 9 tiger reserves and has now expanded to over 50. These reserves are often surrounded by buffer zones and eco-development areas where human activity is regulated and local communities are involved in conservation-related employment and education. In Nepal, a smaller but significant tiger population has shown promising growth due to transboundary cooperation and community-led conservation. The country works closely with India to coordinate anti-poaching patrols and habitat management, especially in the Terai Arc landscape. Nepal's success is largely attributed to empowering local people, many of whom serve as forest guards and biodiversity monitors. Community forests, managed by local user groups, help reduce illegal logging and provide sustainable resources while also protecting tiger habitat. As a result, Nepal has nearly doubled its tiger population since 2009. Bangladesh's Sundarbans mangrove forest is home to a unique population of swamp-adapted tigers. These animals are more aquatic than other subspecies and often swim long distances between islands. The dense, waterlogged terrain makes traditional monitoring methods difficult, so researchers use camera traps and DNA sampling from feces to estimate numbers. These tigers tend to be more aggressive, possibly due to environmental stress and limited human tolerance. Conservation efforts in the Sundarbans involve managing fishing activity, enforcing anti-poaching laws, and preparing for climate change, as the region is highly vulnerable to sea level rise. Bhutan has taken an innovative approach by integrating tiger conservation with national development. The country's constitution mandates that 60% of land remain forested, and its high-value, low-impact tourism strategy helps fund conservation without overwhelming the environment. Bhutan's tigers live at surprisingly high elevations. Some have been spotted at over 3,000 meters above sea level. Their presence in these cold mountain forests expands our understanding of tiger adaptability. Bhutan collaborates with neighboring countries in the eastern Himalayas to coordinate conservation actions and maintain genetic flow across borders. In Russia, the Amur tiger's comeback is a conservation success story. By the 1940s, only about 40 individuals remained in the wild. Strict protection, habitat management, and international cooperation have helped this population rebound to over 500. Russian conservationists work closely with China and Korea to protect tiger corridors and expand habitat. Anti-poaching units equipped with snowmobiles, GPS, and drones patrol the vast forests of the Russian Far East. Rehabilitation centers help orphaned tiger cubs recover and, if possible, return to the wild with minimal human contact to preserve their natural behaviors. China has historically struggled with wild tiger populations, primarily due to habitat loss and poaching. However, recent government actions show commitment to reversing this trend. Several large reserves have been established in the northeastern provinces where Amur tigers roam. China has also banned the use of tiger parts in traditional medicine and cracked down on illegal trade. Captive breeding facilities are controversial, especially those labeled as tiger farms. But efforts are underway to improve genetic tracking and establish a framework for reintroducing suitable individuals to the wild under strict conditions. In Southeast Asia, tiger populations are critically endangered. Countries like Thailand and Malaysia still have wild tigers, but numbers are dangerously low. Habitat fragmentation, poaching, and weak enforcement remain major threats. However, progress is being made. Thailand's Huay Ka Kaing Wildlife Sanctuary has seen an increase in tiger numbers due to intensive monitoring, strict protection, and community involvement. Camera trap footage from the sanctuary has captured tigers breeding and raising cubs, offering hope for the future. International funding and partnerships are vital to support these efforts and scale them up across the region. Indonesia's Sumatran tiger faces dire threats. The island's forests are rapidly disappearing due to palm oil plantations, mining, and infrastructure development. Only a few hundred individuals remain in the wild. Poaching is rampant, and conflict with humans is increasing. Conservationists are using snare removal programs, mobile ranger units, and community outreach to protect tigers and mitigate conflicts. Sanctuaries and rescue centers provide temporary homes for displaced tigers, but the ultimate goal is to secure and reconnect habitat. Satellite mapping and law enforcement technologies help identify poaching hotspots and prioritize conservation zones. In conflict zones such as Myanmar, political instability has hindered conservation work. Tigers still exist in remote parts of the country, but little is known about their current status. Conservationists face security risks when conducting fieldwork, and data collection is sparse. International NGOs are partnering with local groups to build capacity, train rangers, and conduct surveys when possible. These regions may hold untapped potential for tiger recovery if peace and stability improve in the future. Efforts to support conservation in these challenging areas are part of a broader vision for species recovery. Human-tiger conflict is one of the most complex challenges in tiger conservation. As human populations expand into tiger territory, encounters become more frequent. Livestock depredation leads to economic losses, and sometimes tigers attack people, especially when old, injured, or displaced from their natural habitat. Retaliatory killings by villagers can decimate local populations. Mitigation strategies include early warning systems, community watch programs, and secure livestock enclosures. Some projects use compensation schemes to reimburse farmers for lost animals, reducing anger and the impulse for revenge killings. In certain regions, problem tigers are relocated to less populated areas or wildlife sanctuaries. While relocation can prevent immediate conflict, it carries risks. Tigers are territorial and may struggle to adapt to new environments. Stress, lack of familiarity with the terrain, and interactions with resident tigers can lead to injury or death. In some cases, relocated tigers return to populated areas or resume conflict behavior. Long-term solutions must address the root causes of conflict: habitat loss, prey depletion, and poor land use planning. Education and coexistence strategies are essential to reduce fear and build tolerance. Education programs play a key role in tiger conservation. Teaching children about the importance of wildlife fosters a lifelong appreciation for nature. School visits, nature camps, and wildlife clubs help connect young people to the forests and animals around them. Adults also benefit from awareness campaigns, especially in rural areas where encounters with tigers are more likely. Posters, radio broadcasts, and mobile outreach teams provide information on how to avoid conflict, report sightings, and support conservation. Building empathy and understanding among people who live near tigers is critical for long-term success. The rehabilitation of orphaned or injured tigers is a delicate and complex process. When cubs lose their mother to poaching or conflict, they are sometimes rescued and brought to wildlife rehabilitation centers. These centers must balance care and minimal human contact to ensure the cubs retain their wild instincts. Staff provide live prey, natural enclosures, and opportunities for the cubs to learn hunting skills. If deemed fit, some tigers are eventually released into the wild. Each release is carefully planned with GPS collars and monitoring to ensure the animal adapts successfully. One inspiring rehabilitation story comes from Russia, where an orphaned cub named Zolushka, Cinderella, was raised in a remote facility designed to simulate the wild. She was taught to hunt deer and boar without human interaction. After more than a year of preparation, Zolushka was released into a protected forest. Camera traps later confirmed she had survived the winter and even mated with a wild male. Her story demonstrates the potential for well-managed reintroduction programs and the resilience of tigers when given a second chance. Genetic research is becoming increasingly important in tiger conservation. By analyzing DNA from scat, hair, or tissue samples, scientists can determine the genetic diversity within populations. This helps identify inbreeding risks, trace poaching routes, and verify subspecies classifications. Genomics also reveals connections between isolated populations, guiding decisions about habitat corridors and translocations. Genetic data contributes to captive breeding programs by ensuring genetic compatibility and avoiding the mixing of subspecies, which can dilute adaptations unique to each region. Advances in technology continue to make these analyses faster, cheaper, and more accessible. One of the most fascinating aspects of tigers is their role in the evolution of large carnivores. Fossil evidence shows that tiger ancestors diverged from other big cats millions of years ago. Over time, they developed unique adaptations: long limbs for leaping, retractable claws for grip, and a powerful bite force. Tigers also have large brains relative to body size, supporting complex behavior and decision making. Studying their evolutionary history not only deepens our appreciation of their biology, but also informs conservation strategies based on ecological niches and behavioral traits. Rewilding is a concept gaining attention in tiger conservation. It involves restoring natural ecosystems and reintroducing apex predators to areas where they have been extirpated. Rewilding can have cascading effects, improving biodiversity and ecosystem health. However, it's not as simple as releasing tigers into the forest. It requires extensive planning, restoring prey populations, securing habitat, and preparing local communities. India and Russia are exploring potential rewilding projects, including areas where tigers once roamed but are now absent. These initiatives offer hope for expanding tiger range and undoing past ecological damage. Citizen science is playing a growing role in tiger monitoring. Smartphone apps, camera trap databases, and crowdsourced data collection allow ordinary people to contribute to research. In India, programs like M-Stripes allow forest guards and volunteers to log tiger signs and report poaching incidents. These tools not only enhance data collection, but also foster a sense of ownership and participation among the public. Engaging local communities as partners in conservation strengthens efforts on the ground and creates broader support for wildlife protection policies. Global campaigns have helped raise awareness about tiger conservation. Events like Global Tiger Day on July 29th celebrate progress and highlight remaining challenges. Documentaries, social media campaigns, and celebrity endorsements have brought the plight of tigers to international attention. Public pressure has encouraged governments to take action and increased funding for conservation initiatives. However, awareness must translate into sustained support, both financially and politically. Conservation is a long-term endeavor, and the tiger's future depends on continuous engagement from people across the world. As we look to the future, technology will continue to shape tiger conservation. Artificial intelligence is being used to analyze camera trap images, identify individual tigers, and predict poaching activity. Satellite monitoring tracks habitat changes and illegal logging in real time. Biotelemetry, using GPS collars and accelerometers, reveals tiger movement, behavior, and stress levels. These innovations allow conservationists to act quickly and allocate resources more effectively. As technology becomes more affordable, it can be deployed even in remote and under-resourced areas. Tigers are more than just majestic animals. They are symbols of nature's strength, beauty, and fragility. Their survival depends on our collective will to protect their habitats, reduce conflict, and curb illegal trade. Every tiger saved represents a victory for biodiversity, climate resilience, and cultural heritage. The challenges are immense, but so is the opportunity. By supporting conservation, spreading awareness, and respecting nature, we can ensure that future generations inherit a world where wild tigers still roam free. Tigers have held a prominent place in the cultural and spiritual lives of humans for thousands of years. Across Asia, they are revered as symbols of power, courage, and protection. In Hindu mythology, the goddess Durga rides a tiger into battle, representing the triumph of good over evil. This imagery is deeply ingrained in Indian culture, with depictions found in temples, scriptures, and festivals. The tiger represents divine strength and fearlessness, and is often seen as a guardian spirit of forests and sacred lands. In Chinese culture, the tiger is one of the 12 animals of the zodiac and represents bravery and protection. Ancient Chinese soldiers painted tigers on their shields and armor to evoke fear in enemies. The white tiger is one of the four symbols in Chinese constellations, associated with the west and autumn. It's believed to ward off evil spirits and bring fortune. Tigers are also a common motif in Chinese martial arts and folklore, representing raw physical power balanced with discipline and wisdom. In Korean mythology, tigers are guardians of the mountain and symbols of dignity. They are often portrayed as wise, benevolent creatures that guide humans. Traditional Korean paintings show tigers alongside magpies, symbolizing the duality of humor and authority. The tiger is also the national animal of South Korea, embodying national pride and identity. During the 1988 Seoul Olympics, the tiger was chosen as the official mascot, reinforcing its place in the cultural consciousness as a beloved and powerful animal. In Vietnamese folklore, the tiger is both feared and respected. Known as Ung Ba Moi, or Mr. 30, it is often associated with the wilderness and justice. Villages would sometimes build shrines to tigers, offering sacrifices to avoid attacks and gain protection. These shrines, known as tiger temples, reflect the blend of fear, respect, and spiritual reverence people have had for tigers for generations. Today, this cultural connection is being revitalized through education and conservation campaigns aimed at reducing illegal tiger trade. Indigenous communities across Southeast Asia also see tigers as sacred beings. In some Malaysian and Indonesian tribes, tigers are believed to be the ancestors of humans or the spirits of the dead. Certain tribes avoid saying the tiger's name aloud, using euphemisms like the striped one or the king of the forest. Ceremonies and taboos surrounding tiger sightings are part of traditional ecological knowledge systems that have helped protect the species in the past. Conservationists now work with these communities to blend traditional practices with modern science. Tigers have also played a major role in Western imagination. From ancient Roman depictions in amphitheaters to modern literature and film, they symbolize exoticism, danger, and majesty. Writers like Rudyard Kipling immortalized tigers in global consciousness through works like The Jungle Book, where Shere Khan, a Bengal tiger, becomes both antagonist and tragic symbol of the wild. In contemporary media, tigers feature in everything from logos and mascots to movies and marketing campaigns, often emphasizing their mystique and power. Modern art and fashion have also drawn inspiration from tiger imagery. The animal's bold stripes and piercing gaze have appeared in high fashion, streetwear, tattoos, and digital art. Its presence in branding, from sports teams to luxury products, shows how the tiger's visual appeal transcends cultures. This global fascination, while often aesthetic, can be channeled into meaningful support for tiger conservation through ethical consumerism and awareness campaigns. Art can also serve as a platform to tell the tiger's story and inspire action. Despite the tiger's cultural significance, its future remains uncertain. As of today, fewer than 5,000 wild tigers remain globally, scattered across fragmented landscapes. Climate change adds a new layer of complexity, altering prey availability, water sources, and vegetation patterns. Rising temperatures and extreme weather events threaten coastal tiger habitats like the Sundarbans. Droughts and forest fires affect tiger prey and force them into closer contact with humans. Long-term conservation must therefore include climate adaptation strategies to ensure tigers can survive changing environmental conditions. Habitat connectivity is a key strategy for long-term tiger survival. As human development fragments forests, isolated tiger populations face inbreeding and reduced genetic diversity. Wildlife corridors, stretches of habitat that connect two or more protected areas, allow tigers to move freely, find mates, and expand territory. These corridors can be natural, such as riverbanks and forest strips, or man-made, like overpasses across highways. Land use planning that prioritizes these connections is essential, especially in densely populated countries like India and Bangladesh. International cooperation is another pillar of tiger conservation. The Global Tiger Initiative, launched in 2008, brought together tiger range countries, NGOs, and scientists to double wild tiger numbers by 2022. While the goal was ambitious, it catalyzed funding, research, and policy changes across borders. Countries now share data on tiger movements, genetics, and poaching threats. Transboundary conservation areas, where tigers can cross national borders safely, have been established in places like the India-Bhutan-Nepal landscape. Such cooperation reflects the global responsibility to protect this iconic species. Community-based conservation is proving to be one of the most effective approaches. When local people see tangible benefits from tiger presence, such as jobs, tourism, and infrastructure, they become stewards of the forest. Programs that involve communities in decision-making, monitoring, and income generation build trust and resilience. For example, ecotourism lodges run by locals offer guides, cultural performances, and homestays. Revenue supports schools, clinics, and conservation projects. Empowering communities ensures that conservation is not imposed, but embraced from within. Technology will continue to revolutionize conservation. Drones equipped with thermal cameras can detect poachers at night. Acoustic sensors can record the sounds of gunshots or chainsaws in protected areas. Machine learning models can identify tiger individuals by their unique stripe patterns. Real-time alerts help rangers respond quickly to threats. Mobile apps allow tourists and locals to report illegal activity or wildlife sightings. These tools increase efficiency and safety, especially in large or hard-to-access landscapes. The challenge lies in making them accessible and maintaining the infrastructure needed to support them. Zoos and wildlife parks also play a role in conservation, though their impact is debated. Accredited zoos contribute to captive breeding programs, research, and public education. They can serve as genetic reservoirs and conduct studies that are difficult in the wild, such as reproductive health and behavioral research. However, not all facilities meet ethical or scientific standards. Tiger farms, where tigers are bred for profit and sometimes linked to illegal trade, are widely criticized. Transparent standards, accreditation, and collaboration with wild programs are essential for zoos to contribute meaningfully. Reintroduction efforts from captivity to the wild are rare, but not impossible. These require careful selection of individuals, disease screening, habitat evaluation, and long-term monitoring. The greatest challenge is ensuring that captive bred tigers develop the hunting, territorial, and survival skills needed in the wild. Some success has been achieved in Russia and India, where rescued or captive-born tigers were rewilded with minimal human interaction. Future efforts may combine captive and wild individuals to restore extinct or declining populations in suitable habitats. Environmental education must remain a cornerstone of conservation. Changing public attitudes is essential to reduce demand for tiger parts, support protected areas, and prevent habitat encroachment. Conservation messaging should be culturally relevant and engaging. Documentaries, school programs, museum exhibits, and interactive media can inspire empathy and action. Youth engagement is especially important. Young people are not only future leaders, but active participants in conservation today. Social media campaigns that empower youth voices have already proven powerful in spreading awareness. Policy and governance reforms are equally vital. Strong legal frameworks deter poaching and habitat destruction. Wildlife crime must be treated as organized crime, with international enforcement and tracking of smuggling networks. Land use policies must balance development with ecological sustainability. Incentives such as green certification, carbon credits, and sustainable agriculture can reduce forest loss. Governments must commit funding, personnel, and political will. The tiger's survival depends not only on protected areas, but on the integrity of governance systems at every level. The economic value of tigers and their ecosystems is often underestimated. Forests where tigers live provide water, climate regulation, and biodiversity that benefit millions of people. Ecotourism generates income and jobs. Healthy tiger populations signal healthy forests, which store carbon and prevent soil erosion. Investing in tiger conservation is not just a moral duty, it is economically sound. Studies show that the long-term benefits of protected areas outweigh the short-term profits from logging or development. Making this case to policymakers is critical. One promising frontier is integrating tiger conservation into broader development plans. Instead of treating wildlife protection as a separate issue, governments and planners can embed it into agriculture, infrastructure, and climate policy. For example, designing roads that include wildlife crossings or zoning land to include buffer zones helps mitigate conflicts. Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, align closely with conservation goals. Tigers can become ambassadors for integrated, sustainable futures that benefit both people and nature. Cultural revival can support conservation. Artists, musicians, filmmakers, and storytellers can rekindle traditional respect for tigers. Rituals, dances, and oral histories can be preserved and shared to reinforce the tiger's importance. Faith-based organizations can influence attitudes by linking conservation with spiritual values. Pilgrimages to forest shrines, tiger festivals, and religious teachings can all play a role. By weaving conservation into the fabric of cultural identity, societies can foster enduring protection of wildlife. In science, new discoveries continue to shape our understanding of tigers. Recent research into their vocalizations has revealed a complex range of sounds used for communication. Roars, growls, moans, and chuffing each serve different purposes: territorial declarations, mating calls, or mother-cub bonding. Acoustic monitoring can help identify individual tigers and understand population dynamics. Studying tiger behavior and cognition also reveals insights into problem solving, memory, and social interaction, helping us refine conservation strategies. Tigers are not monolithic. Each subspecies and individual has unique traits. Some are more reclusive, others more adaptable. Some thrive in mangroves, others in snow-covered mountains. Understanding these differences is key to tailoring conservation plans. Generalizations can lead to mismanagement. Local research and participatory approaches ensure that conservation respects ecological and cultural contexts. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Success depends on nuance, flexibility, and humility. Ultimately, the tiger's survival is a test of our values. Do we prioritize short-term gain or long-term sustainability? Do we see ourselves as separate from nature or part of it? The tiger, as a keystone species and cultural icon, represents a crossroads. Its extinction would not only mark a loss of biodiversity, but a failure of global stewardship. But its recovery can be a beacon of hope, a story of resilience, cooperation, and the power of collective action. The choice is ours. Tigers have survived wars, ice ages, and massive environmental changes. But they cannot survive indifference. They need forests to roam, prey to hunt, and space to live. They need our protection, not our pity. They need our courage, not our complacency. As the sun rises over the jungles, mountains, and rivers they inhabit, we are reminded. The roar of the tiger is the voice of the wild. Let it be heard, not as an echo from the past, but as a promise for the future. And that brings us to the end of our journey into the world of tigers. From their powerful presence in the wild, to their deep cultural significance, and the challenges they face today, tigers are more than just majestic animals. They are symbols of nature's strength and vulnerability. Protecting them means protecting the forests, the balance of ecosystems, and a legacy that belongs to all of us. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay wild, and until next time, keep the roar alive.